Hello, 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 and welcome back, my little curiosities, to another Fairy Tale Friday. Before we get started, you guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you can join us for more stories like this one. And I need to warn you right up front, this is not a Disney fairy tale. We're going Grimm's today, and this story deals with some pretty heavy topics, including abuse, jealousy, unaliving, and some very questionable family behavior. But, guys, while we're reading, I want you to pay attention to something. Watch the decisions. Watch what each character in this story chooses to do and what they choose not to do, and how one decision leads to another until they finally arrive at, like, of course, the ending. Because by the time we get there, I think we're going to discover that everybody's choices help build the ending they eventually received. So, anyway, gather around, curios. Let's read the Grimm fairy tale titled Little Brother and Little Sister, aka Which, but with a B, period. We're gonna put Oreo Jr. He can go over there. We got a lot of pillows going on. Okay, and let's get started, guys. Little brother took his little sister by the hand and said, "Since our mother unalived, we haven't had a happy hour. Our stepmother beats us every day. Here we go. And when we go to see her, she kicks us and drives us away. We get hard breadcrumbs to eat, and the dog under the table is better off. For now and then, she throws him something good. I think we should call CPS and PETA, but hey, you know. The pity of it. If only our poor mother knew. Come, let's go out into the wide world together." All day they walked over fields, meadows, and rocks, and then it rained. Little sister said, "God and our hearts are weeping together." Oh, the poor babies. Oh. At nightfall, they came to a large forest, and they were so worn out with misery and hunger and their long journey that they crawled into a hollow tree and fell asleep. When they woke up the next morning, the sun was high in the sky and shone straight on the hollow tree. Little brother said, "Little sister, I'm thirsty. If there were a spring, I'd go and drink. And I think I hear one now." Little brother stood up and took little sister by the hand, and they went looking for the spring. Okay, y'all, here we go. Now, y'all get ready. But the wicked stepmother was a witch, but we to be in the front of the W, or ask the W, put a B in the front. She had seen the children go away and had crept after them stealthily, as witches with a B in the front do, and had put a spell on all the springs in the forest. When they found a spring that leapt glistening over the stones, little brother wanted a drink. But little sister heard the spring speak as it gurgled and flowed. "If you drink of me, you'll be turned into a tiger. If you drink of me, you'll be turned into a tiger," which is random. That's just like random animal, but okay. And little sister cried out, "I beg you, little brother, don't drink. If you do, you'll be turned into a ferocious tiger and you'll tear me to pieces." Little brother didn't drink, though he was very thirsty. And he said, "I'll wait till the next spring." When they came to the next spring, it spoke too. And little sister heard it. "If you drink me," it said, "you'll be turned into a wolf. If you drink me, you'll be turned into a wolf." Little sister cried, "Little brother, I beg you. If you do, or as I beg you, don't drink. If you do, you'll be turned into a wolf and you'll eat me up. Little brother didn't drink and said, I'll wait till the next spring, but then I'll have to drink no matter what you say. I'll be just too thirsty. When it came to the third spring, little sister heard it speak as it gurgled and flowed. If you drink me, you'll be turned into a deer. These are some random animals, okay? For me, it's two ferocious ones and then a deer. Like, how is she making determination? The which would be in the front? Girl, how you making a determination of what to turn these children into? Anyway, sorry. If you drink me, you'll be turned into a deer. Little sister said, Oh, little brother, I beg you, don't drink. If you do, you'll be turned into a deer and run away from me. Girl, let him go. He seemed like he causing a lot of problems already. He got, why she don't need to drink nothing and he needs to drink it. So, yeah. But little brother had already knelt down and leaned over and taken a drink of water. And no sooner had the first drops touched his lips than he turned into a fawn, period. He Bambi now. No, he's just Bambi. He's still here. Little sister wept over her poor bewitched little brother, and the fawn wept too. It was very sad. I'm gonna pause right here and just put a little thing in here. Let me just say, if this was my story would have ended. Let me tell you why. Because if I was little sister, I would have drank from the spring too, and then we both would have been fawns, and then we could keep drinking from the springs instead of being thirsty. Period. But this isn't where the story ends, though. But that's just the way it would end for me. I would become a deer too.
I would have both drank from the first one and then tigers and gone back and found the evil stepmom.
Period. This is why we're here to remix these stories. I don't know if they were written right. Okay, but finally the little girl said, Don't cry, dear fawn. I shall never leave you. She undid her golden garter and tied it around the fawn's neck, and she gathered reeds and paired them into a soft rope, or plaited them, into a soft rope. She fastened the rope to the garter and led the fawn by it, and they went deeper and deeper into the forest. When they had gone a long, long way, they came to a hut, and she looked in. It was empty, and she thought, How can we stop and live here? Or here we can stop and live. With leaves and mosses, she made a soft bed for the fawn, and every morning she went out and gathered roots and berries and nuts. And for the fawn, she brought tender grass. Wait, girl, did you find some water? Because wasn't that the problem? Okay, well, it don't matter. This is a fairy tale. Never mind. Let me keep going. He ate it out of her hand and ran about merrily. At night, when little sister was tired and had said her prayers, she laid her head on the fawn's back. That was her pillow, and she fell into a sweet sleep. Aw. If little brother had only had his human shape, it would have been such a glorious life. For a time, they were all alone in the forest. But it so happened that the king of the country held a great hunt. Okay, hey. The forest rang with the sounds of horns and the barking of dogs and the joyous cries of the hunters. The fawn heard the sounds of the hunt and longed to join in. Why? Doesn't that mean you're a deer, sir? You're gonna get hunted. So why would you want this for yourself?
Well, he's not used to being a fawn yet.
We already going through some things, but I guess we're gonna add more things onto the things we're going through. But okay, fine, whatever. This is the fairy tale. This is what we're doing. Oh, please, he said to little sister, let me go. I can't bear it any longer. And he pled and pled until she finally gave in. But be sure to come home at nightfall, she said. I shall lock my door against the cruel hunters. You must knock and say, Little little sister, cuckoo, susu, let me in. And I don't know who it is. If you don't say it, I won't open my door. Then the fawn ran off into the forest, and he was so glad to be out in the open that he bounded with joy. The king and his huntsmen saw the beautiful beast and chased him, but they couldn't catch him. And when they thought they had him for sure, he darted into the thicket and vanished. Okay, a smart deer. At nightfall, he ran to the hut and knocked and said, "Little sister, cuckoo, susu, let me in." The door was open, and in he leapt and slept all night on his soft bed. Next morning, the hunt started in again. And when the fawn heard the horns and the hunters hallo, he couldn't keep still. And he said, "Open the door, little sister. I got to get out in these streets. I shall unalive if I don't go." Little sister opened the door and said, "But tonight you must come back in and stay and say the same words." When the king and his husband saw the fawn with the golden collar again, they all chased them. A fawn had a golden collar on, and y'all didn't think he belonged to somebody?
I don't think they care.
Oh, well, period. Okay, that's true. They all chased him, but he was too quick and nimble for them. It went on all day. But by nightfall, the huntsmen had finally surrounded him. Uh-oh, see, running them streets, sir, running them streets. And one of them wounded him slightly in the foot so that he limped. Uh-oh, got a pimp now, and couldn't run very fast. One huntsman crept after him to the hunt and heard him say, "Little sister, cuckoo, susu, hurry up, let me in," and saw how the door opened for him and immediately closed again. The huntsman took it all in, went to the king, and told him what he had seen and heard. And the king said, "We shall hunt again tomorrow because I'm nosy." Mm-hmm. Little sister was dismayed when she saw that her fawn was wounded. She washed off the blood, sprinkled herbs on the wound, and said, "Now lie down, dear fawn. Lie down and get well." The wound was so slight that by the morning the fawn didn't feel it anymore. Okay, period. And when he heard the sound of the hunt, he said, "Girl, I got to get out in the streets." He didn't say that. He said, "I can't bear it. I've got to join in. They'll never catch me, even though they did yesterday." Little sister wept and said, "They'll unalive you. And here I shall be in the forest, all alone and forsaken. No, I won't let you out. Then I shall unalive a misery right here." Is anybody else thinking, "Sir, won't you unalive if they catch you again, sir?"
Good chance.
Whatever. Okay, we just gonna let him work. We're gonna let him cook. "When I hear the hunting horns, I can't keep still." What was little sister to do? With a heavy heart, she opened the door, and the fawn bounded happily into the woods. When the king saw him, he said to the huntsman, "Hunt him all day until nightfall, but don't let no one harm him." And as soon as the sun set, he said to the huntsman, "Come now and show me the hut." When the king came to the door, he knocked and called, "Dear little sister, susu, cuckoo, let me in." The door opened, the king went in, and there stood a girl more beautiful than any he had seen. Of course. She was frightened when she saw that it wasn't the fawn, but a man with a golden crown. Girl, if I saw a man walk in my house with a big old golden crown, honey, I'm not scared. I mean, that's the king, girl. You don't know, he might marry you because they always do in these stories. That means you rich, sis. Period. But the king looked at her tenderly, held out his hand, and said, will you come to my palace with me and be my wife?" Told you. "Oh, yes." Told y'all, it's a pattern they have in these fairy tales. These men just fall in love with beauty and just gotta marry her. Don't even know her name sometimes. Period. But the fawn must come with me. I won't ever leave him. The king said, he shall stay with you as long as you live and want for nothing. Oh, girl, everybody having a good time. Okay, the king said, baby, it ain't tricking if you got it, period. Shout out to the king. Just then, the fawn came bounding in. Little sister tied the plaited rope to his collar, took hold of the rope, and led him out of the hut to their kingdom, baby. She said, mm-hmm. The king took the beautiful girl on his horse with him, and they rode to his palace, where the wedding was celebrated with great splendor. Now she was a queen, period. And for a long time, they lived happily together. The fawn was given the best care and played about in the palace gardens. Uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. Y'all ready? Get ready for the energy to shift, because we got a hater alert.
Uh-oh.
But the wicked stepmother, who had driven the children out into the world, thought little sister had been torn to pieces by wild beasts and that little brother, after being turned into a fawn, had been unalived by hunters. When she heard they were happy and prospering, envy and jealousy, because she a hater, settled in her heart and gave her no peace. Told y'all she was a witch with a B in the front. She had only one thought. How was she to bring misfortune on the two of them after all? Girl, why don't you let them people go and just live in peace?
She is an evil stepmother.
She's a hater. She's worse than an evil stepmother. She is a big old hater, honey. That's how they know they doing it right. Her own daughter, who was as ugly as night and had only one eye, kept grumbling and finding fault. Here, listen to the other hater. Okay, the witch with a B in the front then gave birth to a bigger hater. Now listen to how my girl grumbling because she ugly, and now she's a queen. So some people have all the luck. It should have been me. Okay, girl. Never mind, said the old woman, and bade her to take comfort. When the time comes, I'll know what to do. When the time came, and the queen gave birth to a beautiful little boy when the king was out hunting, because that's where he always is. Might pick up another woman, girl. You better be careful. The old witch, with a V in the front of her name, disguised herself as a chambermaid, went to the room where the queen was laying, and said, "Come, your bath is ready. It will do you no good it will do you good and give you new strength. Quick, before it gets cold." The daughter was there too. They carried the feeble queen into the bathroom, put her into the tub, locked the door, and ran away. They made such a furious fire in the bathroom that the beautiful young queen was soon smothered. Told y'all it was gonna get. I told y'all it gets real grim in these stories. When it was done, the old woman covered her daughter's head with a paper bag. No, I'm kidding. With a nightcap, and put her into the queen's place. She also gave her the queen's face and appearance, but she couldn't replace the missing eye. Now, girl, you can cast spells on rivers and all that foolishness, but girl, you can't find your daughter no cosmetic surgeon or a spell to make her cute. You can't do that. We just got to see her looking like this. This is what we doing right now.
Guess so.
The king ain't gonna want you, sis. Anyway, to keep the king from noticing it, she had to lie on the side where she had no eye. Okay, girl. When he got home that night and heard the son had been born to him, he was very happy. Oh, hell yeah. He wanted to go to his wife's bedside to see how she was getting along, but the old woman cried out, Don't open the curtains. It's too soon for the queen to look at the light, and she needs rest." The king stepped back and didn't find out that a false queen was lying in the bed. Wait till he see her. Wait till he see she this in the eye. He gonna be mad. Okay. At midnight, everyone was asleep except for the nurse, who was sitting beside the cradle in the nursery. She saw the door open and she saw the real queen come in, even though I thought, okay, girl, but these are fairy tales, so they do what they want. She took the baby out of the cradle, put it to her breast, and suckled it. Oh. Then she plumped up the pillows, laid the child down, and covered it up with his little quilt. And she didn't forget the fawn. She went to the corner where he was lying and stroked his back. Oh, even after she unalive, she still cares. Then, without a word, she left the room. In the morning, the nurse asked the guards if anyone had come into the palace during the night, and they said, "Nah, we haven't seen a soul." After that, the queen came many nights and never said a word. The nurse always saw her, but didn't dare mention it to anyone. Girl, you ain't scared that a ghost keep coming in there visiting the baby? And did you go in there and check on that girl with the one eye or what here? You just gonna leave her in there? Okay. After a certain time had passed, the queen began to speak when she came, saying, "How is my child? How is my fawn? I shall come twice more, then never again." The nurse didn't answer, but when the queen had vanished, she went to the king and told him everything. "Dear God," said the king, "how can this be? I'll stay with the child tonight and keep watch." So that evening, he went to the nursery. At midnight, the queen appeared again and said, "How is my child? How is my fawn? I shall come once more, then never again." And she suckled the child as usual and vanished. The king didn't dare speak to her, but he kept watch again the next night. Again she spoke. "How is my child? How is my fawn? I came this last night, then never again." Then the king couldn't hold back. He crossed the room at one bound and said, "You can't be anyone but my dear wife. Sir, there's a whole nother woman laying in the bed, hiding her one eye. You ain't gonna check and see who that is? We just okay, what okay. Let me get back. Let me finish the story up. Let me finish this up. And in that moment, by the grace of God, life was restored to her. And the roses came back to her cheeks. Then she told the king that the wicked witch with a bee in her front and her daughter had done to her. The king had them brought to trial and they were sentenced. The daughter was taken out to the forest where she was torn to pieces by wild beasts.
Wow.
They missed it, girl. They thought they was gonna get 2 eyes. They only got one for their dinner. So, and the witch was thrown into fire and miserably burned. When the witch, with a bee in the front of her name, had burnt to ashes, the fawn was freed from the spell and given his human form again, period.
Right.
And little sister and little brother lived happily ever after together to the end of their days. Brava.
Wow.
Yeah, 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 guys. And with that, that was little brother and little sister.
All right.
And this is why we read these old fairy tales, you guys, not only to enjoy a good story, but to use these stories to help us understand the world and the people around us. Because, I mean, think about this. Look at what happened here, y'all. The witch with a bee, okay, was so consumed with jealousy and interfering in someone else's life that she created the very circumstances that she hated and ultimately created her own ending, which most haters do. Her jealousy created her and eventually looped around and ended her. Karma, right? Karma. Sometimes the lesson isn't simply that evil gets punished. Sometimes the lesson is to watch what your own choices are building. And with that, curios, I want to bid you adieu. But before I bid you guys adieu, what did you think about the story? What stood out to you guys? What do you see that led to the consequences that the people got in here? Scott, what happened, or what do you think led to these consequences?
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines that you were saying. Just like sometimes just so consumed with something, just get jealousy that just overtakes you, and eventually becomes your downfall.
Period. Period. We've seen it over and over again, and that's just the way it is. Well, you guys put what you observed in the comment section, and with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. Okay, guys. As always, guys, we had such a good time having you guys hang out with us, and hopefully, you guys had just as much fun hanging out with us. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, check out some other lives, videos, shorts, all that fun stuff. This is a channel slash book club kind of situation for us by us. So check out some other stuff. And with that, guys, we're gonna end this live. So from wherever we are, even when we're running amok in a forest where there's no water, to wherever you guys are, peace and love and happiness. And we'll see you guys later, but that means like 30 minutes because we got to get back to Thrill Club. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. But in the meantime, in between time, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Mwah.